Unusual Besties.
Welcome back to Unusual Besties. My name is Nena.
And my name is Scott, and we are Unusual Besties. And just to start off again, why we're Unusual Besties, Nena and I met 10 years ago. When Nena was almost 19 and I was 41, just come out of divorce. We became good friends and then besties, and even though we now live in different cities, at very much different stages of our lives, Nena's in the late 20s, I'm in my early 50s. Nena comes from a real southern Georgia family on the mum's side, and her dad is Iranian. And I am Jewish and originally from the UK, lived in the States 20 years. So we are Unusual Besties, and we appreciate you listening to our podcast.
Yeah, so today we're actually going to be talking about working from home, which seems to be on the decline ever since the plague ended.
Yes. So, again, it's something that is very much close to my heart because I very much enjoyed working from home. Obviously, the tragic events around COVID were not pleasant, and definitely for those impacted, it was very, very unpleasant. But I think there was some benefits to those people who were fortunate enough to have jobs that allowed them to work at home. So for a while, I was 5 days at home, and then we went back to 4 days, which for me was the perfect balance because it was great to see work colleagues and interact with them, but now it's back to 5 days in the office, and it's a struggle. And what was your work routine?
Well, for a little while I did a project, and I did work from home. You remember? It was supposed to be a couple days in the office. I did those.
Right. Well, I think for me, and again, I want to have the greatest respect for the leaders who are making the decisions. No, they're paid the big bucks. They're the ones who have to get the decision right. So with great deference and respect to them, I'd still like to give my opinion because from my opinion, most people actually are far more productive from home.
I gotta agree with that one. I did way more at home than I did when they forced me to go in there.
And why do you think that is?
Because there was no distractions for me, right?
Correct.
Yeah. I mean, time to time I did get distracted with, whatever, but it wasn't like at work I would go for a walk. We had like a little walking thing around the building. Yeah, we had a food court. Yeah. Or like a cafeteria type thing, yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. So I think most people are productive, and I think those who take advantage, should be found out and should, be reprimanded or even let go, rather than, for the minority, maybe it's 10% who do that, bringing everyone back in. And I think it's not productive. And I think, unfortunately, the senior leadership, because it's been such a long time that they've worked from an office as such, one location, they get to be in meetings and they get to travel. They don't realize how unproductive it is to be sat next to someone who is on a phone. And, I think there's this perception like maybe we just order lots of stuff so we can take it to the post office every day to be in line for 3 hours a day, and it's not the reality. The truth is, if you have to go to the post office, you have to go to the post office. Like, it's not like we're deliberately doing things to get out of work. I think most people, they wake up in the morning, and when you take away the need for an hour commute, to do makeup, to get dressed, to look presentable, and instead you can sit down in a space that is your space, that you chose more or less the home you live in, and because you feel comfortable and the surroundings that you're in are things that you generally chose. So you're in a comfortable space as opposed to coming into an office where you did not... Yeah, you did not choose who you sit next to. You did not choose the seat you sit in. You do not choose the temperature of that office location. You do not choose the decor of that office. So
what decor?
Okay, but so
in my office I chose all the decor.
Did you? Okay,
I did.
But you're physically in a space that is not one that you want to be in.
Yeah, I mean, you did choose your job. No.
Yeah, you choose your job.
We do have the luxury of choosing our own professions in this fine country.
And again, if you have the opportunity to do that from home, I think it's far more productive. And, and it's like, at the end of the day, there's times during the day where you are sleepy and the occasional person may take a nap for an hour during the day. True. But if you're in the office and you can't take a nap, you're still massively unproductive because you're actually sleeping. And I'm not saying people should be taking naps every day.
Midday naps.
But taking the midday nap so you can wake up and work harder in the afternoon is actually in the company's best interest, rather than trying to thug out the rest of the day by having more coffee and just not being productive. So, I don't understand why. And again, with great deference to people making the decisions, and, if they wish to reach out to me, I'd love to have that conversation because I've got great respect. And, there's nothing about waking up earlier, having to choose what clothes I wear, which are clothes that I am not particularly comfortable in wearing, because there is a need to at least be business casual to some degree, even if it's just jeans as opposed to sweat. Working in a temperature that I don't choose in an office. And again, not everyone has the luxury of having their own office. Some people are perched on the end of their bed with screaming children. That's currently not conducive. But to have my own office, my own space, I understand why senior people would want to have their own office in their own space. And again, their jobs are more important than mine. But it's because it's conducive to doing work, where I sat next to someone and opposite someone and behind someone.
But how is you don't have an office. You don't have a room.
It's open plan.
You have it's like a bunch of chairs.
It's a bunch of desks. Now, there are...
It's not a cube. It's just...
Yeah, it's just open plan. It's a chair.
Okay.
And there are offices you can go to, but then you got to unplug your laptop. So even when...
I dread the thought.
Well, so even when people are like in meetings with people in their office, people are still on video conferencing, because that didn't exist 15 years ago.
Yeah.
But now it's more convenient to be at your desk with your laptop and your monitor
at home,
or even in the office than it is to be in a meeting room with people, because you can look at your the presentations, you can make notes, you have the monitor. So people, even when there's meetings, don't go into meeting rooms, and it's far more productive at home, where you don't have to wear headphones, you have no background noise, I have no one to talk to during the day, whereas I would say, how often do you just chat meaninglessly to coworkers?
At this place, often.
Yeah.
We do. That's pretty much
what you do.
No.
So,
well, hold on. Let's back up. Let me ask you a question. You said that you have no background noise, right? What about a lot of people that might not have that set up at home?
There's some people who coming into an office may be more productive for.
Yeah, like what if they have a bunch of kids or pets, or they have like the parents that live there, they're not well, like whatever, it could be a
Absolutely.
variety of factors.
Absolutely. For those people, if you perched on the end of your bed with your laptop on your knees with screaming children or elderly parents around, that's not conducive to work. But when
working is almost might be like a safe space for them to like get out,
a sanctuary, sure.
Yeah, a sanctuary.
For me, I had a lovely big office. My desk was set up like my cockpit, so I knew. I knew where everything was. I didn't have
all
to
the
pack
switches.
I didn't have to wear headphones, which I don't enjoy. I can
anything restricted.
Yeah, I can talk actively.
Is that why you don't put your shoes on?
Put my shoes on. I work without shoes on in the office. I have to wear shoes, obviously. So I just don't know what part of working in an office with the commute, at home. It's just unproductive, in my opinion. And at home I get to eat the food I want to eat because I've chosen that food. So I used to eat.
Yeah, but arguably you can choose your own food at work. You take it.
Yeah,
you're allowed to. You're not confined to the office. You can leave, right?
You can, but I used to eat a jacket potato every day, and it was part. Like baked potato, so it's my English, and it was part of my routine. At 11 o'clock, I'd put it on, I'd put it in the oven. It would be beautiful and crispy by 12:30, and I'd make it.
It takes an hour and a half.
To cook in the oven.
Wow. Okay.
So I can't do that in the office. I just cannot do that, and that was very healthy because it releases your energy slowly. So I wasn't tired in the afternoon. So it's very much my routine. I literally did it 4 or 5 days a week when I was at home. So I enjoyed the food I'd eat, and I'd have my weights next to my desk. My what they call just dumbbells. Yeah. So I could be on a call and I could just do 15 or 20 of those. It was not disrespectful to the call. I was still very much engaged, and I could walk to the front door and get a blast of fresh air. Whereas now I'm stuck in a building.
Blast of fresh air.
Yeah, but whereas now I'm stuck in a building which recycles sort of stagnant air, so it's just very tiring. So people,
those fluorescent lights. And,
so people are just very, very tired now from working in the office, and you know, and like I say, in all honesty, when I was at home, I still try and do my very, very best, but I was at home, I had one purpose when I was at home, generally speaking, is what can I do today to make a difference to the company? Honestly, like what can
what value? Well, you were actually asking yourself the question that they ask you in interviews, what value do you add to this company?
I was going to be sat there.
Okay, nice. Yeah.
8 hours plus in this chair. No one else was around. I mean, occasionally my kids would come home because I'm divorced, and they'd come in at 3:30. They'd kiss me. They'd go upstairs, be on the phone. It was lovely to feel their energy in the home. But generally speaking, I was there alone, and I'm sat there at my desk, and I was like, well, what can I do? Whereas when I go into the office, I want to do a good job, but it's harder because really my goal is I want to be back home. Like,
ask
I'm not
what your company can do. Ask what you can do for your company.
Yeah. And I liken, you know, we talk about air travel. I actually liken being in the office to being on a transatlantic flight. About the same time, 8-9 hours, and I'm stuck in an environment that.
Except being on the plane's fun.
I hate being on the plane. I hate the plane for more than I hate the office. The office is fun because I have friends at the office. I like to see those people.
Yeah, okay, that's what I was saying about meeting friends. Yeah.
But on a plane office, I'm kind of stuck there. It's not an environment I chose. I'm sat next to people I didn't choose. The air is circulating.
Also recycled
air.
Yeah.
The food is what I'm really given. I have a choice, but it's not what I would choose. The seat is not the seat I would choose. And really, what I want to do is I want to get off the airplane safely and get home. And that's how I feel in the office. I enjoy the day. I try and contribute to the company, but I want to get home to be in a space that I choose. When I'm at home, I am integrated between, they talk about work-life balance, and they say it's not work-life balance, work-life integration. It was integrated. Okay. And I was fully, I got promoted 2 or 3 times. I got bonuses for high performance, and I'm not the only one. I mean, you know, people are physically happier, and those that cheat should be fired. But most people I know weren't, and, you know, the not having to commute. I mean, it was beautiful. And then the thing is, you don't switch off at home because you do integrate. So you make dinner and you put it on, and then you come back to your laptop. So you're still working, or you finish dinner, you'll check your emails. When you leave the office, generally speaking, you leave the office. You may look at your phone, but generally speaking, you're done. And likewise, even things you shouldn't be doing, like washing the duvet, it now has to be done on a weekend, but putting my washing in the machine takes 5 minutes. It then runs for an hour, and then it takes 5 minutes to unload. Yeah. So it's not disruptive to my work day.
I mean, it's no longer than going to the bathroom, right?
Correct. But whereas now that has to be done on a weekend, and I have to stay home because I don't like to leave the home when the washing machine's running, when the dryer's running. I just don't like to leave them running. So things that used to be integrated and no expense to the company, in fact, it was helpful because I felt grateful and appreciative to the company I could do this.
Yeah, they offer a lot of flexibility.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now it's gone. So the difference is night and day to people. And again, I truly have the greatest respect for leaders, the decisions that they make. They're the ones who, you know, put their head above the parapet. You know, and they're the ones who get rewarded or not for their actions. And I still try and very much do the best job that I can. But I knew, unfortunately, it was easier for me to do a better job. I was more productive. I was less distracted. I worked longer. And in the office, I'm not sure, you know, everyone understands how hard it is to work when you've got so much distraction in terms of other people doing their job around you. You know, you don't know what to wear. Sometimes you're too hot, you're too cold because you don't know what the temperature's going to be. There's times I go to the cafeteria and there's no vegetarian food, or the food's all gone. So then I have to leave the office to pick something up, which
God.
So,
it's
you know.
Fair.
Yeah, and it's a wonderful privilege that we have that. But at home, I never went out for lunch. So those.
Just brought it to you.
sometimes, you know, sometimes I go to Uber Eats. So that's my perspective. And if there are any leaders out there, again, with great humility, I would ask, evaluate whether you are seeing productivity increase, and don't look at the productivity between days people are in the office and people are out the office. Look at how productive they are now compared to when they were home during COVID, because I will guarantee there was more work done when they're at home for longer hours. And people talk about the 3-day hybrid. It's manageable. For me, the 1 day was best because it gave me the structure, and I'm not, but 5 days, which a lot of companies are going back to, I think it's going to be challenging to recruit young talent. I think your retention rates are going to fall. I think you're going to have to end up paying people more. Maybe ultimately you'll end up with a very, very ambitious, more motivated workforce, which is wonderful. But I'm not sure that's going to be the case. I don't necessarily equate ambition to wanting to be in the office 5 days. So I ask you if I'd love to discuss it with you. I'd love to get someone on this call who insists their workforce come in 5 days and they believe that's absolutely the right way to do business. I'd love to have that conversation. So besties out there, please, feel free to come up with your comments. And like I say, I think it's night and day between the flexibility of working from home and working from the office, and I think it's certainly unproven of whether there's any increase or decrease in productivity for the business. So I know more and more companies are bringing people back into the office, and that seems to be the trend. If you think it's a great idea, I'd love to hear from you. If you think it's the wrong way for society to be moving, again, we'd love to hear from you. So thank you for listening to our podcast. Nina, have anything more to add?
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to subscribe, and have any comments, you can actually direct those to Scott this time. Be a bestie.
Thanks, besties.
Unusual besties.